Welcome back. We're going to do a reaction to a Baseball Doesn't Exist video. It's about Derek Jeter, so...
Oh, my favorite.
Well, actually, I think you'll like the subject of this video, because...
They making fun of him?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So, let's go ahead and hop on in.
Derek Jeter is one of the best, most famous, and respected players of his era. He also may be the most overrated. He was once selected to start an All-Star game while being the second worst qualified shortstop in his own league. He won the Gold Glove while being the second worst defensive shortstop in baseball twice. He's made some of the best, most iconic defensive plays in baseball history, but according to defensive metrics, he's literally the worst defensive player of all time. He's praised for having a spotless reputation while playing in the most ruthless media market in the world. But he's also had a decades-long beef with superstar teammate Alex Rodriguez, reportedly told the Yankees to trade a different teammate because they fought each other. Another teammate literally robbed him. He was caught cheating in the playoffs. His own owner said he needed to stop partying as much and focus more on championships, and his own general manager told him to his face there were at least 4 shortstops he'd rather have on the team than him. After he retired, Jeter became CEO of the Marlins. He traded the team's best players, fired former players, fired the president, fired the mascot, and reportedly even fired a scout who was in the hospital with cancer. His reputation among...
What do you think so far?
No, I've heard the stories. I don't know how true they are. I mean, is this just an opinionated video, or is it proven fact?
This is factual. Like,
okay, well, I heard the stories of how he demolished the Marlins, and
I mean, he traded away Yelich, Stanton. Yeah. He made plenty of his own grave there.
Yeah, I don't know what his thought was on that. I don't follow those teams, so I didn't really keep up on what the story was when he was down there.
Alright, let's jump on back in. How you get the picture.
Well, I wanted to see him do more Saturday night.
Bizarre public beef, Marlins superfan Marlins man called Derek Jeter a, quote, virgin. But how did he achieve such a spotless reputation? Why do defensive metrics rank Derek Jeter as the worst defensive player in history? And due to recent decisions, why Derek Jeter could soon be out of Miami for good? Babe Ruth was once suspended for punching an umpire in the face, while teammates him and Lou Gehrig hated each other and didn't talk for years. Mickey Mantle admits to hooking up with a woman during a game in Yankee Stadium. He was even temporarily banned from baseball in the 80s, and him and Joe DiMaggio had a feud that apparently lasted until
he
they
never
died.
drank it.
Despite this, they all maintained a spotless public image. They weren't just Hall of Famers. They were American icons, helping make the Yankees the most lucrative franchise in American sports. But when Derek Jeter was drafted, the Yankees sucked and were going through the darkest, most scandal-filled era of their history, in large part due to them being owned by a crazy person. During this era, the Yankees had missed the playoffs 13 years in a row. They constantly signed big-name players in an attempt to create the next Yankees icon. But every time they did, they ended up leaving in the middle of a massive controversy caused by Steinbrenner himself. And he would literally be banned from baseball for doing this.
Are you...
During a 17-year stretch, he fired his manager 19 times, had 15 different pitching coaches, and 13 different general managers.
It was almost like it was scripted.
Was one of the best closers of his era, but once missed 3 months with a broken hand after punching a teammate in the shower. He hated Steinbrenner so much, he refused to resign and called him, quote, the fat man upstairs. Steinbrenner once benched Don Mattingly just because he refused to cut his mullet. Mattingly once set a record by hitting a home run in 8 straight games while having a sprained wrist. Steinbrenner was not impressed and told the media the only reason he had a sprained wrist in the first place was because he was selfish and only cared about individual accolades. The Yankees signed Dave Winfield to the biggest contract in baseball. 2 years later, he was arrested for animal cruelty after he accidentally killed a seagull with a baseball during warm-ups. fans threw rubber baseballs at him, and an ambulance came and sent the Seagull to the
Wasn't
hospital
his fault.
for a full autopsy.
I mean, yeah,
After the game,
could
he
be.
was literally arrested. This isn't why Steinbrenner hated him. He hated him because when he signed Winfield, he read the contract wrong and thought it was for $16 million when it was actually for $23 million. Steinbrenner
Had
paid
to be
the
read
gambler
it as 16.
$150,000 to dig up dirt on Winfield, his own player, to try to get out of paying his full salary. Steinbrenner was caught and literally banned from baseball for doing this. These players all had the
I
potential
never
to
knew
be
that he
the
was
next,
connected
quote,
with
Yankees
Winfield.
legend. But because of
Yeah.
Steinbrenner, their public image was damaged and large parts of their own fan base resented them. But when Steinbrenner was reinstated in 1993, Derek Jeter had just been drafted. He never won an MVP, was voted most overrated player in baseball by players, and wasn't even the best shortstop on his own team. But he became the first Yankee to reach American icon status since Mickey Mantle. How did this happen? Nobody had a more perfect start to their career than Derek Jeter. He won Rookie of the Year and a World Series in his first season. In his first 5 seasons, he won 4 World Series, had the most hits in baseball, made 3 All-Star teams, won a World Series MVP,
But couldn't
a
catch
All-Star
for
Game
shit.
MVP, and had already dated Mariah Carey. As soon as he
Well,
became their starting
hell,
shortstop,
I gotta give
the
it-
Yankees went from
give him
missing
the award
playoffs
for that, right
13 years in a row to winning 4 World Series in 5 years. He was the face of one of the best dynasties in baseball history, was on Seinfeld, in commercials, and on
Seinfeld.
Saturday Night Live. Derek Jeter was untouchable. He was in the media 24/7, but still kept a spotless reputation during an era where basically nobody else in baseball did. But despite popular belief, Jeter's career had plenty of drama. After just 2 years of not winning a World Series, Steinbrenner was already getting impatient and told the media Jeter was partying too much and not focused on winning. This turned into a national story, but unlike past Yankees, this bad press actually helped Jeter's reputation. He downplayed it completely. Tabloids who love bashing Yankee players told him to, quote, party on, and Steinbrenner and Jeter capitalized on the bad press
Because
by
Jeter
appearing
got
in a Visa
favored
commercial
over
that
every
turned the
Yankee
bad blood
player.
between the two
Yeah.
into a
I
joke.
like that commercial.
Rick, we are running late. Sorry.
In 1999, his teammate Chad Curtis told the media Jeter didn't know how to play the game because he was joking around with Alex Rodriguez while their teams were in a bench-clearing brawl. Curtis also annoyed Jeter by constantly trying to get him to go to church with him, even though Jeter kept telling him no. That offseason, Jeter was so annoyed, he reportedly told the Yankees front office they should get rid of Curtis altogether, and Jeter had so much power, they did. Curtis also got into a fight with a teammate for playing music with curse words, destroyed the team's adult videos, and ended up going to prison for very serious and creepy crimes. So to be fair, Jeter probably wasn't the only one who wanted him gone. Jeter
he's
also
one of those.
beefed with teammate and former best friend Alex Rodriguez. Their friendship went bad after A-Rod told the media Jeter was surrounded with good players and, quote, never had to be a leader. A-Rod was constantly involved with scandals. Jeter tried to hide it, but he resented him for it. During this famous play, he was seen staring daggers at A-Rod after they missed a pop-up, which caused the Yankees front office to beg Jeter to repair their friendship. And when CNBC ambushed them with a surprise joint interview, it resulted in one of the most awkward interactions ever caught on camera.
Since you both hung up the jerseys, you guys are friends now? Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just see Jeter's
The
face.
press made a little thing about the back and forth between you two. Was that real or serious ever? This interview's going all time of places. Well, that I haven't seen him in a while. Each handle.
By choice.
Jeter was reported to, quote, beside himself angry that this interview ever happened. A-Rod said that media members like Mike Lupica treated Jeter like a god while they portrayed A-Rod as a, quote, dickhead. A-Rod did many things that caused this kind of treatment, but this is true in many ways. Tabloids put A-Rod
Why
on
didn't you
blast
shoot
for things as little as
Rodriguez
being shirtless in
instead?
Central Park. But when
Shoulda shot
Steinbrenner and
A-Rod.
Chad Curtis criticized Jeter, the tabloids defended him. When a scientific study showed Jeter was the worst shortstop in baseball, the New York Post called it, quote, junk science. When A-Rod broke the rules by slapping the ball out of Baltimore Royals' glove, Sean Nixon called him a clown. Kevin Millar said it proved A-Rod wasn't a true Yankee, and Kurt Schilling said, quote, Jeter would never do that. But Jeter did do something pretty
I was gonna
close.
say.
In 2010, Derek Jeter pretended to get hit by a pitch in a playoff
I
game.
remember
He was
that.
awarded first
Yep.
base and
At the
admitted
end
to
of the
doing
bat.
it after the game.
And then
Joe
they
Madden,
praised
the
him for
opposing
it.
manager, said, quote, I thought Jeter did a great job. I applaud it. This is against the rules.
But
and
if
A-Rod
A-Rod
did it, it would have been a way bigger deal.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not identical to trying to slap the ball out of a player's glove, but the point is, Jeter's reputation was so good, he could pretty much get away with murder. The U.S. Air Force once made a public apology to Jeter because someone in the Air Force posted a picture of his citation he gave him. In 2001, a Yankees player was immediately released after he stole a glove out of Jeter's locker. He stole the glove so he could make $2,500 selling it. It ended up costing him $800,000 in salary. His name was Ruben Rivera. He was the Yankees' former #1 prospect and cousin of Mariano Rivera. But since it was Jeter's glove, he committed the ultimate sin and was immediately released. Jeter deserves a ton of this treatment. He ranked 6th all-time for WAR amongst shortstops. He was never once ejected from a game. Never did steroids in an era when everybody did steroids. He did every single hot celebrity, and not one of them had a bad thing to say about him. And according to the New York Post, when women would spend the night at Derek Jeter's apartment, he would give them a gift basket with autographed Yankees gear and gift cards when they left.
Thank you for having said
that. Gentleman and the biggest celebrity in baseball.
What the hell?
He should be respected for this, and he was. However, this led to him earning a ton of accolades he really didn't deserve. And in the second half of his career, people started calling him out for it. In 2008, players voted him the most overrated player in baseball. In 2011, players voted him the 3rd most overrated player in baseball. In 2010, he had the worst year of his career, but was still voted to be an All-Star Game starter, while according to WAR, he was the 6th best shortstop in the American League. In 2011, he was selected to be an All-Star while being the 10th best shortstop in the American League, and in 2012, he was selected to be an All-Star while being only the 7th best shortstop in the American League. Jeter reportedly requested a long-term deal from the Yankees and asked his general manager, quote, "Who else would you rather have at shortstop?" Brian Cashman responded by naming 4 shortstops before he was interrupted and asked to stop. In 2012, after getting injured in the playoffs, the New York Post called him Derek Eater when a picture showed him looking severely overweight. But by far, the most damaging thing to happen to Derek Jeter's legacy was the advancement of defensive metrics. Started in 2008 when a study presented at the American Advancement of Science claimed Derek Jeter was the worst shortstop in baseball. At the time, people thought this was insane because he was perceived as one of the best shortstops in baseball, largely based on plays
perceived.
Making one good play in every 10 games doesn't make you a good fielder.
In 2004, he jumped face first into the stands to catch a foul ball with the game on the line.
Came out with a hot dog in his mouth.
He immediately got 7 stitches, but played the next day. And in 2001, he made one of the most clutch plays in history. In the 8th inning of the ALDS, the Yankees were an inch away from losing
This
the lead,
was a good
but Derek
play.
Jeter came out of nowhere, backed up a bad throw, and saved the run that would have put them down 3-0 in the series. Instead, they went on to win the game in extra innings and won the series.
I mean, it was a
Derek
great
Jeter
play.
won
It really
5 gold
was.
gloves. He did not
He had
deserve
he had no reason
he won
being
the Gold
there.
Glove in 2004 while being the 3rd worst shortstop.
It's just
in
the
baseball.
awareness.
Won it in 2005,
He didn't have it all the time.
It
It was just a here and there type
won it
deal.
back to back in 2009, 2010.
I think he was,
During those years,
like-
there were 11 shortstops who were
like
better
coach
than him. This
worthy
is all based
kind
on a
of
stat called
knew
defensive
where he-
runs saved, which is the
knew
most
what to
accurate
do.
defensive
It's
stat we
just
have
that
today. It measures how many runs a
he
player
fumbled the
saved
ball
or
too
cost
much.
their team compared to the average player.
I mean,
Throughout his
that
career,
play right there.
Derek Jeter cost his team 162 runs on defense,
Wow.
which is by far the worst in history.
Worse than
He had a
Hanley
range factor, which is not only the worst in baseball history, but twice as bad as the 2nd worst in baseball history. Does this mean Derek Jeter is the worst fielder ever?
He was a brewer.
Kind of. First of all, the stat was
He
created
wasn't very
in
noteworthy.
2003, so any
Not
player
like
before
Ozzie.
that was not measured. But it's hard to believe
Ozzie
there
could
are
do a
many
flip.
players who were ever even given the chance
Well, yeah, it's been-
to
He
cost
was
their
good.
team this
He was
many
good
runs.
to
It's
shortstop,
easier to
though.
cost your team runs while playing shortstop because it's one of the hardest positions on the field. Historically, any player with a range as bad as Jeter's would have just been moved to a position that doesn't
Like
require
second
as much
base.
range. If he would have played
Yeah,
third
didn't he get
base,
moved to
he'd
second
probably
base
be
in his
considered
last year?
an
I don't
average
think so.
fielder. But
I
the
don't know.
Yankees insisted on keeping
He
him
should
at
have been a
shortstop
second fielder
until the very last
the whole
day
time.
of his career, allowing him to cost his team more runs than any other player.
No, in all
ever.
reality,
Jeter's
he could've
defensive
been-
metrics are the biggest stain on his play.
He wasn't even pressured on that throw,
Nothing has
and-
damaged Derek Jeter's image worse than what
Any
happened
bad
after
throw.
his
I was
career.
going to say
Derek Jeter said
the Miami
it
play.
was shameful and a lie.
In 2017, he bought 4% of the Miami Marlins and became
4%
the
managed to ruin his
instantly
legacy.
became a nightmare and resulted in the most bizarre beef in baseball history. He immediately traded their 5 best players
Real
to
Muto.
cut payroll and essentially
And you're
replaced them
trading
with
those
a
guys?
minor
Yeah,
league
Real
team.
Muto,
This
Yelich,
alone made him a
and
villain
Stanton.
in Miami,
And
but
look
it
at what
gets
happened.
worse. Jeter and the new management got rid of everyone and everything. They removed
I
the
remember.
$2.5 million home run statue, got rid of the fish tanks behind home plate, fired the sea creatures, fired Billy the Marlin, he fired executives, reportedly helped the TV announcers get fired former players Andre Dawson, Tony Perez, and Jeff Conine, whose nickname is literally Mr. Marlin. Jeter apparently even asked the team president, David Sampson, who he also fired, to tell these former players they were fired too.
Things are going well.
Yeah.
From what I read, things aren't going great.
Jeter and the new ownership even fired a scout who had cancer while he was in the hospital waiting for a kidney transplant. All of this controversy occurred in a span of several months. And fans were so mad that Jeter held a town hall meeting with season ticket holders so he could rebuild their trust. But
I
for
thought
some
for a
reason,
minute
he
that was
didn't
Wade
invite
Boggs.
Marlins man.
Everybody stops me and wants pictures. It's crazy.
Marlins man became famous
I
for
was
going
gonna say,
to the biggest
teams
sporting events
offered
every
to-
year.
Every single person will stop and want their picture.
To be
Often
their
accompanied by
mascot
his
guy.
team of groupies
Yeah.
called the Mermaids,
Their mothers
Oh.
are talking about me. Their dads are talking about me.
while wearing a Marlins jersey, making sure his seats are in a spot where the camera can see him.
And do you like that attention?
No, my Twitter is
No.
at
Marlins man.
Marlins man.
Pretty incredible when Marlin man shows up.
Marlins man publicly called out the Marlins for not inviting him to the town hall and stated that he would not renew his season tickets because the Marlins wanted to charge him $260 a game while he wanted to pay $250 a game. The Marlins
$260 a
eventually
game.
invited Marlins man to the town hall meeting.
Add that
where he
up,
began his
82.
speech by telling Derek Jeter, quote,
Or
"You
no,
know who
80,
I am."
80,
He then
what,
proceeded to
81
suggest the
years.
team have Marlin Man Mondays during the season
Marlin
and allow him to throw at the first pitch. He also asked Derek Jeter to
That might
ride in
have
his
been all
Marlins
over.
mobile, and Jeter responded by saying, quote, "I don't know how else to say it, I won't be riding in that." Marlins man left the meeting extremely unhappy, saying that he was now a free agent and had multiple offers from MLB teams to wear their jerseys instead of the Marlins jerseys. He said that he would not wear the Marlins logo or go to another Marlins home game until they lowered his ticket prices, saying that Derek Jeter is, quote, "a Hall of Fame player and a virgin." The immediate backlash Jeter got after buying the Marlins was extreme, but it has died down. After winning a fan raffle, Marlins man signed a one-day contract with the Marlins, was given an official press conference, got to shag balls during batting practice, present the lineup card to the umpire, and do an interview during the broadcast. Since then, he's deleted all his mean tweets about Jeter and the Marlins, and they seem to be in good graces. Jeter's time in Miami
For
got
now.
off to an awful start, but ultimately, his legacy in Florida will come down to if the Marlins become successful, and who knows if this will ever happen.
Not
But no
looking
matter
very
what,
likely.
Jeter will go down as one of the best offensive shortstops ever, a first
What was
ballot
the
Hall of
stat
Famer,
line we saw
and a
the other day
baseball
that the
icon.
Marlins had
Yes,
like the
Jeter
most
received
used
a
players
ton of accolades he
because
really
of
didn't
injury
deserve.
and what?
But this is only because
Well,
he did something
not
nobody else in
his
the world
fault
could do.
now, I don't
I
think.
know, but I'm
Spotless
saying it's not looking like they're going to be
reputation
successful.
during
Is
the
what I
steroid
mean.
era. In the
Yeah.
biggest media market
Well,
in
I
the
think
world,
when
while
you
playing
sell
for the
off
most critical
your
and
entire
trauma-causing
team,
owner in baseball,
it takes a
while
while
having
to climb
Alex
back
Rodriguez
out of
as
that.
a teammate. Jeter
Yeah,
avoided
Bob.
scandal despite
Yeah.
all of this, and this is truly what makes Derek Jeter a legend.
Fire sale in
Unfortunately
21.
for him, it also made him a little overrated.
A little. I think a lot.
So
I
In the
knew
late
a lot of the
1990s and early
stories.
2000s, hundreds
no, gonna have to ignore that.
Went into the next video.
Yeah.
We are new at this. So
Well,
bear with us.
I'm trying a new software is what this is. This software is kind of different. It like it's the way that it works that like I have to adjust the mic audio with the audio of the video at the same time. Well, I'm just saying it's different. So
Camera, the little red light on
shut the fuck up. It's a different like situation that because I was using a different editor that wanted me to pay, and I'm not doing that unless for some odd reason this takes off. which
Nah.
yeah, exactly. I don't see likely. But for the time being,
Shut
to
up.
have fun, these are more for fun than they are for, you know. But
We want billions of dollars.
no.
Just hit that like button 1,000 times.
Okay, well, his motive is money,
I know it isn't.
but
Not at all.
what did you think of the video?
Now, it was all right. I don't know if I know I saw quite a few bits in that already, but not in this format of the whole story in the way it was given. But
Well, I just think
I knew of yeah, well, of course I knew of him slapping the ball out of Arroyo's hand.
that's A-Rod.
No.
That was A-Rod.
Oh, okay.
And they said Jeter would never do that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Cheaters, Mr.
Yeah.
Mr. Biracial Angel.
Should have shot A-Rod. Well, like I just the funniest part to me is the fact that Marlins man called him a Hall of Famer and a virgin.
Yeah. I don't know quite how to quite take that. Quite different.
Yeah. But all right, well, that was our reaction to this. If you want to see any other Baseball Doesn't Exist videos, go ahead and leave a like or a comment, and see you guys next time.